So hey bookwormies, welcome back to my channel. It's been some time, well not a lot, since the last podcast, but we're back. We're back in full action, and today I'm going to be reading about some bookish hot takes. If you guys don't know what a bookish hot take is, kind of like when somebody has a specific opinion that they have on something, and some people might disagree on it, some people might agree on it, and stuff like that. So I've gathered around some bookish hot takes. Hopefully this is enough. If not, I'm gonna put some things of my own opinions. So first, third person isn't that bad. Third person honestly is not that bad actually, because it's honestly for me, I don't really think about if it's first or third. But no, I don't think there's really a difference. But okay, next. I don't see the point in owning more than one copy of a book. Okay, I used to be that kind of person. That was like, why do you need 20 different versions and copies of the same book? Or even two of the same book? Not understandable. If it's the exact same cover page, but it's just hardback, and then another one is paperback, I don't see the difference. Just get one and that's it. But if it's one is a special edition and one you bought at the very start when you just read it, and you annotated the normal version and you kept the special edition as it was, then I think it is worth it, and I think that there is a reason to keep a copy. But honestly, it depends. If you're just having the same cover, then no. But if it's one special edition, one normal edition, I think that's okay. I want to get a special edition of many of my favorite series, like the Percy Jackson world, the whole world, the Shatter Me, because I love the Shatter Me, just masterpiece, and probably some other ones. Oh, and Keeper of the Lost Cities, yeah, but Keeper of the Lost Cities, I've noticed there aren't really many. The Hunger Games, there isn't really really beautiful ones, but the Shatter Me series, I've seen some that are so beautiful, and I want it so bad. But that's for maybe later in the future when I invest my money on something like that. But yeah. Next, enemies to lovers is only good in fantasy books. Yes and no. First of all, many times, enemies to lovers does look much better in fantasy, specifically because it's kind of there is high stakes. In normal rom-com books, for instance, in enemies to lovers, there isn't usually very high stakes, which is why I believe that's at the same time. Sometimes, if you don't write it, unless if you write it really, really good, the enemies to lovers in a not high stakes situation, then I think then no. Then usually I would say that it's only good in fantasy books. But if you can really write it good, which I haven't found yet in any romance book, I think that no. No, it's not. It does not work. So yeah, it depends. It depends on how people write it. If they write it really good, then sure, maybe. But mostly and usually, most of the time, it's better in fantasy books where there's high stakes, there's a lot going on to really build it up. Alright. Love triangles with two brothers are not it. I want to say yes, but at the same time, I'm so not sure. Guys, I have not put any thought into my opinion because I want to give you guys my straightforward opinion. I don't want to have it thinking on too long. Whatever I think is the one that's going to go through. But I think that love triangles with two brothers are sometimes okay, but it's just I don't really see any more love triangles that much, and sometimes love triangles with two brothers are really messy, and I hate when it's all this messiness, and I just want to slap the main character, the girl, in the face because I just do not believe that she can like one of the brothers when I don't like that brother. So I say love triangles with two brothers are not it, which is true. Yeah, that's my opinion. Next, teacher with student romance are bad. Yeah, they are bad. I just do not enjoy, mostly because look at it this way. It's kind of like a 50-year-old man with a 20-year-old woman. Does that give you guys the perspective that I'm trying to show you guys? Is this giving what I want you guys to know? It just feels so weird. Like, this teacher is teaching you. He's your professor. He's teaching you about biology or something. I don't know. First thing that comes to my mind, biology. How is that supposed to work? How is that supposed to be good? I don't know. No. I agree with this one. Teacher with student romance is bad. Has always been and will always be. I don't care if the romance is written well or what, but every time I think about a teacher with a student romance, even though sometimes it's not true because some teachers are really young and they can be 20 and the student can be 20, but I just do not enjoy them. They're just so not it. And then there's this drama in the side because no, I do not like those. So I agree with the statement. I agree. Next, 99% of the time, epilogues ruin stories. I disagree. I agree with prologues because I don't know why, but I used to be such a hater on prologues. If you guys don't know, prologues is what is before the start of the book, and epilogues are what at the end. I believe that prologues are bad because I just always hated them because they always slowed me down. They always made me less want to read the book, and I'm like, oh, maybe this was a bad choice. But then after I get through the first chapter, after I finish the prologue and go to the first chapter, that's when I get good. That's why I think prologues are bad, but epilogues not as much. I personally love epilogues in many cases because it gives you like an insight on what happens afterward in the world. What do you see later? And I feel like it's really nice. I think that epilogues actually are good. So I disagree with the statement that they put. Okay, prologues are bad. As I said before, I love prologue. Prologues are bad. Yeah. I agree. For a second, I thought it said epilogues. Prologues are bad, and as I explained before, and I want to explain it many times anymore, but I just feel like it just sometimes maybe it would be nice if you could see that prologue at the end of the book. Kind of as an insight after you understand everything, because usually the prologues give you something like with a lot of information, and many times it just confuses me. It doesn't let me really enter the book full on head on, and most of the times I hate it. When you write a prologue good, maybe I can enjoy it, but usually I do not. So no. Yes, I agree with the statement. Not every book needs a happy ending. I agree. And there are a few reasons for why I agree. Like, of course, I am a sucker and I love happy endings because it just warms my heart. But I know that in real life, these stories usually don't end well. And this is why I think that it can teach us. Books are like our teachers. They're like our teachers that teach us life lessons. In school, we learn to get our own business, to be successful and stuff. Or to start a career. But books teach us life lessons. They teach us more personal life lessons, like how to make friends, how to do this and that. So I think that honestly, not every story needs a happy ending. To see that books can sometimes be reality. They can be close to reality, and this is why I think sometimes happy endings are not always the best, but of course, I am a sucker for happy endings, and if there is one, I will cherish it until the end of my life. But sad endings are also nice sometimes. They teach us a lot, and they give us time to cry it out loud. Alright. Marketing book only because of the trope is bad. I agree. Honestly, I see this at least, I don't have TikTok, but I use YouTube, and sometimes I see these people, and they're like, enemies to lovers books you have to read. I'm okay. Yeah, sure, you can give me some recommendations, but I believe that only solely enemies to lovers. That's the whole thing, that plot that we're looking for. Is not what I want. I also want to see maybe a bit of the plot. If they maybe say, oh, also this, there's betrayal, there's this, there's that, then sure, I'm okay with that. But if it's just solely saying enemies to lovers book, found family book, friend to lover book, second chance romance, just one of those and just sticking it on a label is not the same, because many times these tropes could be a small segment of the whole book. It could be like this tiny part in it, this tiny crumble, and you never know. They're just marketing as that. The romance could be so small, but you can still market it as a trope. And I'm gonna read that book hoping to get a nice enemies to lovers when it's only this tiny part of the book. And that's why I think that sometimes tropes are not helpful. So, yeah. Many times I prefer reading on my Kindle. I have this thing, like right now, I'm reading a book on my Kindle. Here it is. And I sometimes enjoy Kindle more than physical book. First of all, if I'm going on vacation, I usually might take maybe one physical book and my Kindle. Right? Sometimes I might even not take a physical book, just my Kindle. And it's better, I think, in some cases because a Kindle is more lightweight. I can tell you, bringing 10 books on vacation that could be just bought inside this little guy. I can tell you this is easier to carry, and it takes much less space. I've never seen a book that could take this little space. A book that's long enough for me, like 200, 300 pages. Okay, so I think I most of the time prefer Kindle, and also because many times if I'm reading on my bed or something, this is easier to hold than a physical book that I have to hold like this. And usually I get indents on my fingers, which I hate. And I kind of want to get like a pop socket for my Kindle. Tell me guys if I should get one. So then I don't have finger bruises. And same with my phone, because sometimes I'm on my phone for these times. So yeah, but I think that Kindles are better if you're going on vacation or you're reading in your bed or it's just not comfortable for you. So yeah. Many times wrong one. I don't like dust jackets. And I agree on that. Dust jackets are a bit of a waste. Like, they're just paper. I'm sorry, but I feel like maybe it would be better if you indented it into the hardcover right away, because then I would honestly there's a probable chance that I would be a sucker for hardcovers. But because of the dust jackets and because of the cover underneath the dust jacket that just does not look beautiful half the time. Sometimes it's nice, sometimes they're good, but most of the time they're kind of ugly, and I have very low standards for those covers that are underneath. But why not just imprint it right away? Why do you need a whole other flimsy thing? And I hate it. And you could always put what it's about on the back. Honestly, I think dust jackets are just so not it. They're not what we need. We could just print it onto the book. What's the whole point? So, I agree with the statement. Harry Potter is overrated. I agree, my friend. I agree. I'm sorry to say this, but I agree. Sadly. Okay, first of all, before anybody goes shouting at me, yes, I have not read the Harry Potter series. It's on my list of maybe to read in the future. But no, I haven't read it. But I have watched all the movies. I tried to read the first book. I tried to read the first book. I'm not only saying this because I would just watch the movies, okay? But I read the first book, and I just feel like it's just not it. It's just not something I believe that is very, it's a really good series, but I feel like it's a bit overrated. And people market it as the amazing thing, but I feel like it's good, but not amazing. And it's just my opinion. So before anybody comes over and decides to murder me in my sleep or something, it's my opinion. It's okay if you guys don't. It's okay if you guys disagree with me, but yes, I think it's a bit overrated. Sarah J. Maas is overrated. Yes, I agree with it a bit. So I've not read many of Sarah J. Maas's books. One of them is on two of the series are on hold, and I want to continue. I want to try to read them, especially one that just everybody talks about. But most of all, I'm on the third book of ACOTAR series, and though I enjoy the series, I think I could name a few series that I enjoyed a bit more than that one. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I just feel like there was a very good. It's a very good series, and it's really well written. I like the romance. I like the fantasy plot. I like all this world building, but I believe that it's a bit overrated because I could name a few series that are just as good as that. But people enjoy ACOTAR somehow more. But I think it's still a pretty good series. And probably she is a bit overrated because, you know what, I'm going to stop explaining because it's just not going to work. Wait, next. Adaptations should be as similar to the books as possible. I agree because I'm mostly going to I'm not going to say much about this one because I have a whole other podcast video talking about movie adaptations, like book to movie adaptations, and the pros and cons of it. Here's the thumbnail, guys. Go watch the video after. I'm not going to go very into detail in this video about it, but I feel like they should be more similar because the whole point is it's an adaptation. It's from a book to a movie, okay? The book came first, so that means that it has to be as similar to the book, or else it's just, what is it? It's just a random movie that has the exact same title. Supposedly, the author helped create the movie. You know, you need to have it differently. But yeah, I think it should be much more similar than what they're doing right now. I don't care all that much if my books in the series don't match. I agree and disagree at the same time. First of all, I agree because sometimes there's different variations and it can look cute and cool. Sometimes it makes it look better than all of them having the same. But at the same time, I don't like it. Okay, I have the whole series of the Hunger Games, right? The first book is the now newer version. The second book is a bit of an older version that looks kind of like the first book, like looks more like the modern version, but isn't. And it's a bit torn apart because I had to buy it secondhand because I could not find on the internet anywhere to buy the second book that looked like the same cover. Then the third book I already had home, so I didn't want to buy another one, but it's an old version. Not my favorite version, and it's taller than the other books. Great. Then the prologue book is the same modern cover as the first book. Maybe it's just me, but I really hate it. I hate it. Every single time I look at it, half the time I hate it. Especially that all of those, like the first, second, and fourth book with the third. Third is just taller than the others, and I just don't like that. And the cover is very, very different. The second book at least looks pretty similar to the first and the fourth, but the third just doesn't. So no, I do not. Oh, you know what? I disagree with the statement. I would wish for the books in my series to be the same exact style cover. At least style. It doesn't have to be the exact same copy type, but at least the style look similar, okay, please? Okay. The second book in a trilogy is almost always my favorite. Same for me. Honestly, many of the books, the second book was just the best one out of all of them. Like Hunger Games, back to the Hunger Games. Catching Fire, the second book, best book ever. Masterpiece. Shatter Me isn't a trilogy, so I'm not going to count that. Oh, wait, what's the series? Oh, the Prison Healer trilogy. Second book was just the best one out of all of them. I agree so much on this. I could just stay here and look at all the trilogies that I've read, and I can inform you that is. Oh, yeah, and also Legendary, the second book in the Caraval series. Yeah, I think it's Legendary called. Yeah, Legendary. Then, the second book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. Look it up. It's one of the best ones. But also I liked Once Upon True Love. Also pretty good, but second and third book are kind of tied together. But still, second book in the trilogy is almost always my favorite. True. The fake dating trope is the worst. Alright, the worst is in capital for you guys. I kind of disagree. I feel like sometimes fake dating tropes can go well, and I think that they might be good. So, no. I think that sometimes if you play it right, if you write it right, if you take it to a nice level that doesn't seem toxic, yes, I believe that it's good. But if you write it a bit weirdly, you put some toxicness, it could sound a bit bad, and the X is just there lingering in the story. I don't like it. I say bad. So it depends always. But honestly, with all this, usually I say that I don't like it, but with some tropes, but if they're written well, can't say no to that. Okay, I love writing and annotating my books. But honestly, for me, it depends on the mood. It depends on the book. Like the Shatter Me series, I'm planning on one day rereading it, and I want to annotate the whole series one more time. The first 2 books I already have annotated, but the rest don't, because I kind of stopped. So now this time, when I go for the second round, hopefully during the summer, I want to fully annotate every single book, every single one of them. So yeah, I think it's good, but honestly, for me, it goes with the mood. If I'm not in the mood for it, I'm not going to annotate it. If I believe that the book isn't very lyrical or won't have many stuff that I really want to annotate and highlight and just really keep it indented in there to show it, then I won't annotate. So it honestly depends. Reading only romance is not bad and doesn't mean you aren't a real reader. I agree, because so many people say, oh, if you're a romance reader, then you're not a real reader. Oh, you're just reading random books, and they won't even care if you're reading open romance book, open door to romance or closed door romance, which has a difference. And I think it is good. I like reading romance personally, and the first book that got me into romance, which is The 7-Year Slip, that I will recommend until the end of my existence, just really shows that romance is just like the romance genre is just as good as every other genre, like fantasy, dystopian, thriller, mystery, and more. So I think you are still a real reader because you're still reading books. As long as you're reading books for your own enjoyment, you are a reader. You are a reader, in my opinion. So I agree with this statement. Last one. Last one. If a fantasy has no romance, I can't read it. I disagree. I just disagree. I'm not even going to wait a second to think about it because I disagree with that. Fantasy is good with or without romance. Fantasy good without any other. It could just be one fantasy, and I still think it would be good. Of course, romance adds on to it and brings a wider range of people and readers to read it because they enjoy the other genres, parts of it. But I think that fantasy is just as good as anything else alone. Romance, if you only had romance, it's just as good if you had romance with a tinge of fantasy, exact same, or romance with a tinge of thriller, or romance with that is literary fiction. It would be just as good. So I disagree with it because fantasy is just as good alone as it is with romance. So wrong. Nope. I'm not going to take any criticism on it. None. Zero. Nada. So yeah, now that I'm going to calm down myself, but thank you guys for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. And we can banter in the comments section on what we agree and what we don't agree. And if you guys have any other different bookish hot takes that you would like me to talk about, I will make another video about it, because I don't care how many videos, like I can make 100 of them, okay? Because I have many things I agree and disagree on, which is totally fine, because if we had the same opinions, guys, the world would seem broken. So we need this. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.